just spoke about trust, I think the next topic that is very important is sovereignty. So when the whole technical things and infrastructure becomes more complex, sovereignty becomes crucial. Our next speaker is a young entrepreneur from Schaffhausen who has a strong business track record in blockchain and big data projects and high cloud developments. Is an NFT-based anti-fraud platform for the luxury watches sector of Richmond, I heard, but we will hear way more about that from him. He ran his first IT concierge back in 2018 and serves now as a business executive manager for Phoenix Technologies, which is a Swiss-based AI and cloud service provider delivering sovereign high-performance computing solution. And I heard that it's just been renamed as Phoeniqs with a Q. That's maybe a little hint. We don't know, we see. So please welcome with me Noah Fijan.
So, hi together. Thank you very much for the event here, and also to you, Reto. It was a great thing. You have organized that with great people here. We have great conversations also yesterday about blockchain, AI, and a lot of other things, and of course, quantum. And yeah, I want to show today a little bit about Phoenix Technologies, what we do with all these technologies, more from a use case perspective. So in 2010, we start with semantic and big data, and we have created there for Swiss Media Database, a big database in Switzerland, who is using for all the newspaper, what is generated every day. And in 2017, we started with confidential compute, with the case there was, okay, we have before in Switzerland the banking and the money, and we say, okay, now we want to bring the trust to the data, so we create our confidential compute in front of the technologies. And 2020 was the year of blockchain, of course. We was there on the pitch by Richemont and win that. So the approach there was, we have created a global blockchain in front of the Ethereum layer and have there built then some smart contracts by Richemont. So every watch will you buy by IWC and the other brands is then directly in the blockchain. So this going then in front of the blockchain, what we have there with a smart contract. And in 2024, we hear all that about ChatGPT. So for us, it was important that we can bring the trust to Switzerland. So we've invested a lot of money, over 50 million in AI infrastructure. And 2026, of course, this year is the year of agents, AI automatizations. We see that, we hear yesterday a lot of Clorbot, cloud code and things like that. But the biggest problem there at the moment is the trust. So maybe you have also heard that in the newspaper and things like that the last weeks, that APIs keys wasn't leaked and a lot of things there, and we have their big problem with security. So this was the opening of the first AI supercomputer, what we have buy by IBM Research in 2024. What is the best technology? What we was thinking, and then we have buy directly by Research the computer and have installed that in Münchenstein in Basel. And this was a big challenge to build something in Switzerland. Well, of course, we have a lot of data centers in place, a lot of setups there, but with the AI supercomputers, you have a big other challenges. When you install that machines, you need water cooling and a lot of different things in place what was already not done. So We have built also in the last year a lot of technologies and engineerings in water cooling. So at the moment we use, for example, liquid cooling. We have optimized that and have built that also with a lot of other things. And this was also part of the challenge to build something like that in Switzerland. So in 2025, we built then the next cluster in Basel. This is then in the uptown Basel area. So we've launched that in the end of year of 2025. And this was the next big thing for Phoeniqs. Will we see we need a lot of more power behind the scenes. This was not why we say we need the powers, and we see with Donald Trump on the market. So this was maybe the best selling person what you can have. So the big companies say, also in Switzerland like that, okay, we need more trust. So this was a big and great thing for Phoeniqs. We then everyone see, okay, security is very important, also for AI. For that you can use AI on a cool way, you need to put all your data in it, that also the AI works great. And there are the biggest challenges and the biggest security issues when you cannot do that on a way that you have the security in place. And this is also a very great location. Here we see how you can use a bunker on another way. So we have here in Switzerland also the Mount 10. This is a great place where we storage all the backups. So when something is with the data centers, we have here every day we send on one way the data on it and storage directly in the Mount 10 location. So it's high secure. And what we provide to customers is in general the full stack, but what we also do is you can take by us model as a service. So this means when you use at the moment OpenAI for your things, or the Llama 4 model or the other things, you can directly switch the API key and use the sovereign Phoenix confidential compute infrastructure. That's a very great thing. So from the solution side, what we have built in the last year, although we see Switzerland was a little bit behind with the solutions, so we say as an infrastructure provider, okay, we have also built the last years many technologies and we need to help there in Switzerland and build own solution in front of the sovereign infrastructure. So the focus was by government and other and banks and things like that to create solutions where we can bring the security trust in it, so that we can open for governance the door that the government can use the benefit of chatbots directly with the private data. This was a big achievement. Here we see the newest interface, what we have at the moment in place. So you can build agents directly. You have MCP server connections. So when you have at the moment like Microsoft or other services, of course, these are not confidential, but when you have that already, you can connect it to the chatbot and bring all the different sources together. And this very cool thing will also more from the business side, you need not to be more technical, it's all automated. So as a user, you can self-build agents on an easy way and connect everything. And here we see a little bit, in this year is more the thing about what I said before, agents and automatizations. And we're using their different frameworks we have installed directly on the infrastructure side, so it's sovereign, all in place. And here you see a little bit how this works on an easy way, I hope. And this year was also some approach for a government case, what I have created together with the government. Here was the important thing that we don't storage data. So the application what we have built was that we storage the data only temporary on the season from the customer. So when, for example, the government user using the chatbot is the data temporary on his device, and only, of course, the request going to the LLMs by us, but this is in the confidential compute, so secure. We cannot go in the data and see what there is in it, and yeah, this builds then the trust. And here's also some billing process where we have built by Phoeniqs, and this is a lot of automatization behind. Well, for us, it's very important that we as a company can bring a lot of automatization in it and speed. Well, only when we use the technology, we understand what the customer needs. And here we see a little bit how is the architecture on a deeper view and how this confidential compute works. So what we at the moment building, this is not already done, but this is in progress, to bring also the GPUs in the confidential compute. And this is also a big challenge. We're working there together with IBM Research, that we have the GPUs where we can activate the technology on it. And this brings a lot of effort. And of course, we see on the right side, we have also HSM in place. So when someone needs a higher security standard, we have also the HSM encryption on it where we can activate. And the next big thing, we hear a lot of quantum computing, and this is also something what we want to do. Also, we have in Basel also the Quantum Basel, and there is an AI computer, I think 2 doors in front of the AI infrastructure, what we have, and this is also a great thing. So we're working together with these people to bring the AI and the quantum computing together on the next level. Or this is some message from one of the founders, Thomas Taroni, for 2 weeks in the Forbes magazine. Was there a lot of information in it about Phoeniqs? But I think there was Phoenix Technologies, not Phoenix, so the rebranding was later, so it's maybe a little bit irritation. But he say, of course, AI and quantum computing together is very important for the future, that we come straight forward. Yes, thank you very much. So, any questions?
So are there some questions to Noah from the audience? I would be interested maybe in Alex. You spoke about trust some minutes ago. Now you heard about a solution that comes from Switzerland. You said we should not, like that it's bunkers. I think you said that we trust 5 to 6 people from the US. I heard someone else saying we have to build this mountain together. We don't have to jump out of it. So what do you think maybe about something that Noah just said?
I think it's very useful to have a sovereign system if you trust the sovereign.
Here, oder? Decentralization. This was some missing point, but I don't have say about that. So everything what we create, also for the government, is created on a way from the application side. We say to that speedboat, so we offer a solution to the government from the long-term run, that we can provide the own infrastructure. So this means a small AI supercomputer, one cluster, and we deliver that to the government directly, and then the government have all the data in-house. And this built then all the layer on trust. So we can then say, okay, everything is running in your data center, we don't have access, and then we have the trust.
Assuming you trust the government.
Yeah.
Do I think this is a good way forward? Is it a good risk mitigation against over-reliance on US? Let's kind of just call it absolutely. Does that reach a level of transparency and verification that blockchain has? No, I don't think it does. But I think it's a sensible step forward.
Yeah.
How do your clients react with respect to Chinese models? If you recommend to them to use DeepSeek or Qwen, what is their reaction? Do they accept it readily, or they prefer not? Do they have questions? Are they indifferent? What is happening?
That's a good question. So in general, we have here also DeepSeek as a LLM by us internally. So this is the thing, we are Swiss people and we say we are open for these things, and we don't say directly, so okay, we don't do that or things like that, but in the end, you can use that models also by us, and this is then related to the customer itself to say what he thinks, what better is.
Hi, thanks for a good presentation. I was just wondering, in terms of the verification part you say, you verify by using blockchain in here, but how do you verify the input data? Say, for example, like you mentioned on a watch. If you take a watch and you take the wristband from the watch, if that's a metal band, normally it can contain 100, 200, 300, 400 different parts. In the world today, currently, it's mainly 2 companies who produce all of them, regardless if it's a Patek, a Rolex, or whatever it is. It's an Austrian company and it's an Italian one. And all of them have really challenges in terms of figuring out from all their sub-vendors on all the parts that is included in this one, is this fake parts or is them real, etc. So I'm just curious in terms of the whole of the value chain of what you're validating, how can you actually use, call it oracles, other parts to ensure that all parts of this watch is actually real?
Fair question. So in the end, is this like the way Richemont have a lot of deliverers? This was what you say, or we only with Rolex and some other clients as other deliverers or creators or companies do this on a little bit the other way, but by Richemont, of course, you have like for a watch 50 sub-suppliers, something like that, and then you have SAP in place and a lot of systems there, but in the end is this like, for the understanding, clear you can build all the time more trust, but by Richemont is this like on the way that someone produced the band, and then this part going in the blockchain, when he create that, he say the letter, for example, coming from this area, then going this in the blockchain, then the other company build like the other part of the watch, then this going in the blockchain, in the end, going all these components together. And absolutely, or you can say, yeah, it's better when only one produce everything, then it's much safer. But in the end, we have a client, and the client has his processes, and we optimize it step by step. But Richemont is a big client, so.
Oh, of course. My point is rather about to what we call in Norway shit in, shit out. And that's down to the level of that just because you say there was no children on the factory producing my jacket today and put it onto the blockchain, it actually doesn't prove that there were no children or pollution in local rivers. So I'm concerned about, call it, how many different independent parties you use to verify the input data that you put in there, in the whole, call it, value chain of the ecosystem for me to trust it. Because if you just put it into the blockchain and say, hey, this is a sustainable coming from a green cow up in the mountains in Switzerland, like, for example, Norwegians do with krill fishing, claiming that a vessel has been at a sort of geotagged position in the Antarctic. It doesn't give me trust anyway. You don't need a blockchain. Then you could use just the database and say, I trust you as the brand for providing that data. The blockchain doesn't provide anything else unless I trust all the different parties that has been behind that. So I'm just curious for ESG purposes, other purposes in the value chain, if you're working together with other third parties to actually verify Oracle data or manual input of data in terms of manualization or census also?
That's all good questions, but I don't can answer that in the exactly way. So although we have a lot of programmers there in place, we have many this with many things. So yeah, I don't can answer that. But we can say stay in touch together, and then I can ask internally and give you the feedback, of course.
All good. Thank you.
Let me just compliment here. This is part of an N-tier transparency. N-tier transparency. So the part of the management of the supply chain of the company itself. So if it is Richemont, if they are interested in all these details, they will have to build this system themselves. So I don't think it is up to technology providers to do that. Yeah. But because they are not responsible for that. If there is an ESG requirement for N-tier transparency, then the company itself producing this product will have to look into the suppliers of their suppliers and the suppliers of their suppliers. Yeah. And this is feasible.
So and that's new legal requirements coming up, so that's why I'm asking the question, because it's relevant, because right now you can do the bullshit bingo of saying it's on the blockchain, and politicians will say, hallelujah, it's on the blockchain, you have verified it.
You're absolutely right. But this is very well-known concept. It's now the question if the companies will really implement it, will invest the resources to do that.
Exactly.
I think that's a wonderful conversation because it kind of correlates in my mind with my metaphor of the mountain climber group, where you have to trust different people in your team that they know what they're doing, and not everyone can know everything about it. So it's very important that we speak with people who see things from a different perspective. Maybe as one last question for you, Noah, when you worked with the governance, when you did a case for them, was trust a main concern for them? Was that even on their list? Or was it your perspective from Phoenix that had to tell them, hey, by the way, that's a UPS, that there is a trust, there is a sovereign perspective that we can deliver you? Which party brought that topic up first?
The thing is, by myself, I have a lot of experience in the government sector. So we have built it years before other applications for government. So I know how the government works and how is the security, or how is so a little bit the working behind. And then of course, I have say the customer what the customer needs. And I think that's all the time a very important thing, that you help the other people or the clients to bring it on the right way. Well, also for government was AI a very new case where we have begun with that, and then was a data protection guy was coming, oh, no, we can go here and put all the data in it, something like that. And then we need to show some ways how we can build the trust when we go in the cloud. And this was in the end the main point.
Yeah, because we heard yesterday, and also from my experience, there is still a big knowledge gap when it comes to industries that could use it, when it comes to regulations, to governance, and industries like yours who brings the knowledge, but still there has to be some kind of human trust still, obviously. So Noah, thank you so much for your insights. I think also a lot of questions for you during the coffee break. Thank you. Big round of applause for Noah.
Thank you.
Hey.